Hey! So, hey guys, it's been a while since we've done one of these live streams. Oh my gosh. So, my name's Amy Prokopis. I am the author of the young adult novel called The Arena. It's actually on the shelf behind me. This book. So, that's my book, The Arena, young adult science fiction. I have a new book, young adult urban fantasy, that is coming out in the fall. I've just released the official blurb for that book. So if you are curious more about what that book is about, you can find that on my social medias, my Instagram, and my TikTok. That's what it is. I've been using Instagram and TikTok a lot. So, in case you were curious, there's my Instagram right here. So, that's my handle. Instagram is where I post a lot of my announcements and information. So, if you don't follow that, go and follow that now because all of my book updates go here first. They also go onto my website. TikTok, which is this one now, I use TikTok every single day. I'm on TikTok a lot. I've grown my platform a ton. Actually, at the beginning of May, I think when I had taken account, the beginning of May, I had like 30, I think, followers. And I set myself a goal to try and connect with other readers and especially authors and writers on that platform. So I went from about 30 followers to I'm at 450 as of today. So I grew a whole lot. TikTok's super fun. I'm having a really good time there. So if you don't already follow me on TikTok, you totally should. And I guess we'll just start with uh, some basics. So, hi, thanks for joining me. I finished my read through of Guardians of the Sixth Gate, which is my next book, my urban fantasy that's coming out in the fall. I finished my read through of it, and I explained in the last one the way a read through kind of works for me. So I printed out the whole first draft and I read through it front to back, and I made notes. And then in the week really between the last stream and this stream, what I did was I went into the draft on Word and I made all of my corrections and my personal edits. And now what I'm doing is I am getting that prepped, that particular second draft now, I'm getting it prepped to go out to beta readers. So beta readers are people that read your book and give you feedback. They can be as like knowledgeable as like professional editors and give you like notes per line even, or they can just be like people who like to read that genre, like your mom and sister, for instance, that maybe would just read it and tell you if they liked it or not, or what they liked about it and didn't like. It's really just kind of, it's like a screen test in filming. It's just a way to get early feedback about how much people like or don't like about your book so that you can go in and make the adjustments that you need to. So that's where I am right now with Guardians of the Sixth Gate. And I'm beginning more of the production side of things. I'll start working with like a cover designer fairly soon and sending off to an editor once I have like final page counts and such. So that's where I am with the book. And today I'm not really working on too much. Like I said, today my plan for the stream was to sit down and get my draft prepped to go out to beta readers. Other than that, I think I'm going to work on some like publicity things. Putting together some like images and maybe some collages that'll eventually become TikToks. So just little things here and there. I'm also prepping a little bit for my second episode of Wednesdays with Writers. So if you follow me on YouTube at all, or you do follow me on my social media, you might have seen that I have a new series on YouTube that is happening right now throughout the summer. It has been a blast, and I've only filmed one episode. So this week I'm filming my second episode. I'm sitting down with K.A. Riley this week, who's a author of fantasy novels. She's written a whole bunch. Her biggest platform, I think, is TikTok. So you've probably seen some of her stuff. If you're in the book community on TikTok, you've probably scrolled and seen it come across your feed at some point. She's really neat. I'm excited to sit down and pick her brain on some things. So that's what I'm doing most of this week, is trying to work on things for that series. It's been a blast. So, not to spend too much time on this introduction, but I figure before we jump in, we should do maybe some fun other updates. So let me know what you're reading. So let's go into the first question. What am I reading right now? So I actually have it right here because I was reading it before I jumped on here. So, there are two things I read. This weekend I read two books, almost two books. So the first one was this one, A Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow. It is adorable. I loved this book. I actually talked a little bit with the author on Instagram because I tagged her in a photo that I put on Instagram of the book. So we talked a little bit about it. Laura Taylor Namey, that's her name. She is super sweet, just like this book. This book was so much fun. I haven't read a really fun, fluffy romance in a long time, something like a beach read, and I kind of wanted an easy read. And this book was so much fun, super cute, and I ended up loving it a whole lot more than I thought I would. It might be my favorite book in a long time. So that was that book. I also read Instructions for Dancing. Actually, I'm not completely through this book, but I'm reading it right now. So Instructions for Dancing by Nicola Yoon. It's pretty good so far. Super cute, just like A Cuban Girl's Guide for Tea and Tomorrow, except maybe not as cutesy and sweet as that book was. That one was very much more like vacation-y. This book is fun, and it's got a little bit of magical realism in it. There's sort of think like Big with Tom Hanks, that kind of movie. They actually make that comparison in this book to what's actually happening to the main character. This is also a really good one. So that's what I'm reading right now. I haven't ordered it yet, but I think I will order it. Finley Donovan is killing it. I think, yeah, I'm dying to read that book. It's been one that I keep putting off in the back of my head, and just haven't jumped on reading, but that might be the next book that I go to after Instructions for Dancing. So that's what I'm reading right now. Don't think I really have any other updates. So I think that we should jump into our first 20-minute sprint. So today, for me, it's not a writing sprint. My goal for this first 20 minutes, I'm going to try and at least upload and prep my draft one of Guardians of the Sixth Gate, and maybe send that out to one of my beta readers that I've already confirmed. So I think that's what I will do. If you are interested in being a beta reader for Guardians of the Sixth Gate, you can actually apply for that. It's on my website. If you type in amyprokopis.com, the first thing that comes up is my biography. And right in the middle there, it says click to be a beta reader. So you can do that there. I also need to update my website. So I've got a kind of a long to-do list today of things that I would like to do. And so actually, I'm going to move my sticky note of things to do over here. I also need to add that to it. Okay, so I'm going to shut up and we'll jump into the first 20 minutes. So let's go ahead and do that. So there we go. There's our timer. I'm going to hit mute. Okay. Welcome back. So that was the first 20 minutes. I got my Google Doc up and sent to one of my beta readers that I confirmed, one of the few I've already confirmed. And I updated my website. So, I haven't mentioned that yet. So there's my website. It's my name, amyprokopis.com. And I have a post going for Guardians of the Sixth Gate, my next book. So I have it listed there so you can find all of my updates. So whenever I put out an update on my social media, I put it there as well. So this week I released the blurb, which is what goes on like the back of your book. So here's the arena. The back of mine is this is the hardcover. So on the back of mine, it's my tagline, but on the hardcover, it's on the inside flap. So I released the blurb for Guardians of the Sixth Gate. So if you're curious and you wanted more about what that book was about, you can find that on my website. It's also on my social media, but I added it just now to my website. So you can go there and find those updates. So in case you're ever curious and you want to pop in and out just to see what's new, you can find those there. So yeah, that's what I got done in this first 20-minute sprint. So I think for the next 20 minutes, I really need to do more promotional stuff. So I might work on some more promotional stuff, getting kind of like a backlog of that going. It makes it a whole lot easier during my week to already have that going. So all I have to do is post them. So I usually do those kinds of things on the weekends. For fun, another question or just another talking point. What are you streaming right now? My husband and I just finished volume 1 of Stranger Things season 4. My gosh, I love Stranger Things. And I realized as I was watching it that Stranger Things and Guardians of the Sixth Gate have kind of the same like feel to them. They're both paranormal. And the Upside Down, it's not, they're very different, but the Upside Down is like a separate world dimension, just like the Shadowlands is in Guardians of the Sixth Gate. So I am planning to put out kind of like a tour of the Shadowlands, I guess you would call it. I'm getting ready. That's what I'll work on. So I'm going to put together my tour of the Shadowlands TikTok. We'll do that. So you guys will have kind of a view into what the underworld looks like in my new book. So that's coming super soon, but they have similar like feels to it. They're both paranormal. Occasionally there's a little bit of, there's kind of like a romantic side plot going on with some of the characters in Stranger Things, but Guardians of the Sixth Gate has a romantic plot with it. So there's the main one, which is in the blurb, which is my main character having what we call their like death experience in the books. Essentially, she dies, or she's in an event that for a normal human would kill them, and then she wakes up immortal as a guardian. And in this particular case, she's a guardian of the Sixth Gate, which is what her circle of guardians is charged with protecting. So they have to protect the Sixth Gate, and they're protecting it so that any like dark demonic creatures that crawl out of it into our mortal world, they take care of them and make sure that they go back to the Shadowlands. So they kill them off as they climb their way out when and if they do, just to keep like the mortal world safe from dark forces. So that's the entire point of the Guardians. That's what they do. They all have their own powers, which are related in part to like their strengths or desires when they were mortal before they turned to guardians. So the three main characters each have their own powers, and my main character has a power of telekinesis, which is super, super fun. It's sort of a nod to my love of witches and everything witchcraft. I love witches and magic. Oh my gosh. Love it so much. I love a good witch story. So if you know of any good stories involving witches, send them my way because I'm looking for a really good one. But that's what I've been streaming is Stranger Things. I'm kind of between things. So my husband and I, we've had Modern Family going on in the background at our house pretty much whenever we're just kind of hanging around playing with our son. I love Modern Family. It's such a good one. I've seen most of the episodes before, but I've never seen it like consecutively all the way through. So that's what we're doing right now until we find something else. I've also been watching The Last Kingdom on Netflix. That's really fun. That's something my husband was not so interested to watch. And so when I went on like my break from everything online, everything writing, and I took like my own mom vacation because it was also Mother's Day weekend, I started The Last Kingdom. So I'm watching it. I haven't watched it in a little while. I'm into season 2. I watched episode 1. So I guess I'm into season 2, episode 2. Yeah, it's kind of fun. I like the historical side of things in like period pieces, even though a lot of times they take their own kind of creative license with it. So I know that there are some inaccuracies, but I think it's fun. So that's what I'm streaming. So I'm thinking maybe we need to jump into our second one. So maybe we'll do that. So I got a lot done. So in the first sprint, I got my beta reader, just the one for now. I got her set up with my draft. I also updated my website. I forgot to check it off my list. So next I'm going to work on my tour of the Shadowlands. We'll do that. So I'll hop on and put together my pick my images that'll go with that for TikTok. So that's what I'm going to do next. I really need to do some plotting for my next book. Speaking of which, I got this question a minute ago. So let's chat about it just real quick. And then we can come back to everything Guardians after the second sprint. So is Guardians of the Sixth Gate a new series? I got asked this a couple of times. Once I first put it out, a bunch of people were sending me messages like, ooh, this sounds like a series, not just a book. This sounds like a series, like a whole thing. And yes, Guardians of the Sixth Gate is a new series. I don't want to say too much because there's a lot that's still like in the works to commit to say, like to speak it into existence, so to speak. But Guardians of the Sixth Gate, it is a series. The way I have it planned is for this series, there's going to be 3 books. That's what I have planned. I have this first one, of course, Guardians of the Sixth Gate. The second one, I have mostly planned out in my head. I actually have, I think it's 3, maybe it's just 2 or 3 chapters written already before I stopped entirely with the Guardian series and went to the arena. That's what I was working on before. So I need to go through and like formally plot out book 2, but I have most of that figured out. Book 3, I know where we're going to end up for the whole series. So I know where book 3 ends and I know what needs to happen in book 3, but I don't really have like an idea yet of the entire plot for that, at least not enough to say what it's about and what happens for my sake. So 3 books for the Guardians of the Sixth Gate series. I do have a spinoff that I am I'm dying so much to get into that spinoff story that I've actually been like filing things away in the back of my head as they've come to me for that spinoff series. So, and I say spinoff series, I think it's going to be a duology. I think there will be the 3 books in Guardians of the Sixth Gate, and I think there will be 2 in the spin-off. That's the way at least all of it figures in my brain right now with the story and the people I have. That's the way I envision it. That doesn't necessarily mean it won't change. Who knows? Maybe we'll get into book 2 of Guardians of the Guardian series and I'll go, "Oh, well, I think this needs to be like 4 or 5 books." So, who knows? But the plan for the coming future is 3 Guardians of the Sixth Gate books in that series and then the 2 spin-offs. So I have 5 already kind of planned out, and that's not including some of my completely separate ideas. So I think I said in a stream months ago that I have 10 books total or 11. I think it was 11 books total that I'm planning to write. And so yeah, so I've got a lot up my sleeve. I wish I could write them quicker is the thing. I wish I had more time in my day to day, like I had to spend less time at my day job so I can spend more time putting together these books. That would be so fun. So that's the plan. I just want to include it because somebody had mentioned that earlier. So that's that. So I say now we go on to sprint 2. What I'm going to work on for sprint 2 is putting together my images for my tour of the Shadowlands TikTok. So that's what I'm going to work on. Leave me a comment in the comment section what you're going to work on if you are working on anything else. So I'm going to mute myself now and we'll go on to sprint number 2. Okay. So I got a pretty good start on my images, my tour of the Shadowlands images. So, um, something that came up from, I think it was from Instagram after the last discussion, after the conversation that we had after the first writing sprint. There we go. So I was talking about the book Guardians of the Sixth Gate that I have coming out in the fall. And I was talking, and I mentioned that the next thing I was going to work on was my images for my tour of the Shadowlands um, from on TikTok. And I guess I did have not discussed too much about this. So, what is the Shadowlands? So, the entire series takes place it takes place in our world. It's in a little town called not Burbank, oh my gosh. So, Burbrook, Colorado. It's a little teeny tiny town I made up. That's where all of our characters are located. It's a real place, except it's not actually a real place, but it's in the mortal world. And the Shadowlands is essentially like afterlife. It's the other world, it's the underworld, like in Greek mythology. That's sort of where the idea for a lot of things in Guardians of the Sixth Gate came from. And the idea of the Shadowlands comes from um, the lore behind like Hades and the afterlife. And one of my characters, the main villain in the first book, Guardians of the Sixth Gate, is the ferryman. And just like in Greek mythology, the ferryman's job is ferrying people from the mortal world to the afterlife in the underworld. So the Shadowlands is that afterlife. The Shadowlands is the place after death that all supernatural beings, including guardians, it's where they end up after they pass away. They go through to the Shadowlands, which is where the ferryman is, and he ferries them into the Shadowlands. And the lore behind the Shadowlands is that it's sort of like purgatory. It's the place where judgment is cast. So you are either punished for your mortal life or the life you had before entering the Shadowlands, before death. You're either punished for like misdeeds and things that you've done and you remain in the Shadowlands, or you can pass on to like the afterlife. And there are different sorts of tiers within this. So there's the Shadow Mistress, who is basically the queen of the Shadowlands. She runs everything there. And the ferryman is somebody who is working for her. So that is maybe as far into the explanation of the Shadowlands as I should go. I guess there is one more like tier within this afterlife system. There's the life after, and then there's the Shadowlands in the middle, which is kind of scary and creepy. And then there's a step below it, which is the Shallows. So if you really mess up, so if you are not obeying that hierarchy in the Shadowlands, within the Shadowlands, you can be banished to the Shallows, which is the lake that the ferryman essentially works from. So if you pass into the Shadowlands, you first wake up and you're in a little dinghy, a little boat in this underground cave in like a lake. And at the far end is a dock where the ferryman sits and he ferries you to the dock. Well, if you displease the Shadow Mistress, she can banish you to the Shallows, which is that lake you're on. The idea kind of came from like Hercules, and I forget what that pool is. I don't remember, but it's the lake that they're on, and there's all the souls within it, like fighting to get out, and they're really creepy. And you don't want to go in there because you'll get sucked under with them and like desiccate essentially. So that's where that idea came from. I don't think I should give any more explanation of the Shadowlands, except that we will see more of it. So you do see some of it in Guardians of the Six Gates, and I do plan in the next two books, especially in the second one, that you'll see a lot more of it. So I hope that explains that, because I guess I didn't realize that I needed to explain the Shadowlands more than that it was like the other world. So the gate that the Guardians are guarding goes to the Shadowlands. So all of the evil creatures, basically anything that comes out of the gate is naturally evil because it's being housed within the Shadowlands. And anything in the Shadowlands that's remained there is there because it is not nice. So they're guarding the gate so nothing comes out of the Shadowlands is what they're doing into the mortal world. So that's that. What else have we talked about and have we not talked about? What are you listening to right now? Oh my gosh. To be honest, I haven't really listened to lots of music recently because I've been working a lot from home and I've been reading a lot instead of listening to music. So I don't know that I've really been listening to anything. I want to go back and listen to Harry Styles, his new album, because for the longest time I was listening to As It Was on repeat. My toddler really likes that song. I think probably because of the bells that are in it, but I don't know that I'm really listening to anything right now. Okay, so it is 3:00. We've been at it for a little over an hour now. I think maybe we do one more sprint just because I like things in threes. At least things like this, like first, middle, end. I see it as maybe it's a storyteller in me. So I think maybe we do one more sprint. Maybe I finish up my tour of the Shadowlands TikTok images. Maybe I finish those. And I still have more to do. So I'll probably spend the rest of the afternoon working on other book things. But I think for our time, maybe we end it after one final sprint. What do we think? One more 20-minute sprint? I think that'd be good. Okay, let's do that. So once again, I'm going to start our timer. I'm going to mute myself and we'll see if I finish that up or not. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to charge my MacBook. Okay, let's do that. And then that might be all of our time. All right, so I didn't really get any further in this project. I'm having a hard time creating some of the images now. I have the pictures in my brain, what the Shadowlands looks like, but I'm not finding any images that really cut it. And the ones I am do not pair well together. So I'm going to have a little bit more work to do on that. But I think for the stream, I think we're done for the stream. So that's pretty much it. Again, make sure that you're following me here on YouTube, because not only do I post videos with updates about every week or so, I am also putting out the Wednesdays with Writers podcast series on here. Right now, it's not a podcast, it's just a YouTube series. I would love to create it or grow it into a podcast also, just have another platform for some of you that may like to listen over, like pull up a video on YouTube. So make sure that you follow me here, because the next episode will be out Wednesday of this week. I'm super excited. Again, I'm sitting with K.A. Riley. She'll be super, super fun. Make sure you follow my Instagram. There it is right there at Amy Prokopis. I put up daily information for all of my writing, my books, and any new information, like for Guardians of the Sixth Gate, since that's coming out very soon. Make sure you follow me on TikTok also, because I'm making really fun videos. I try to keep it fun and entertaining. So the content that I put out on my TikTok is quite a bit different than my Instagram. So make sure you go and follow there. The book community on TikTok is also super fun. If you are a part of it already, you know. But I'm loving that community of authors, other writers, and readers. So make sure you follow me on TikTok at Miss Amy Prokopis. And again, I put all of my updates specifically on my website as well. There's a whole page just for Guardians of the Sixth Gate, so make sure you go and check that out. I also put my blogs up there. I put out a monthly blog at least once a month, so it gives my updates about what I've done this month, what I've accomplished, and my goals. So all of my aspirations are there in my blog, along with a couple of other of my thoughts. So lots of things to get involved with. As always, thank you guys for joining me and working along with me. I still have quite a bit on my list to do, but I will not, I'm not going to add that to this video. It's already pretty long. We're about an hour and a half in now. So I will let you all go, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.